Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
What a pleasure to talk to Sam Sorbo. She is an actress, and she also has a radio show. We could talk about that in just a few. She's talking about the new Left Behind movie in the series, Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist, coming out January 26th. Sam, how are you?
You know, really good, although it's raining here in Houston today. But I just want to tell people, don't get left behind and go to the movie this weekend. It's very exciting. We are up from, I think they started with 800 or 1,000 screens. We're up to 1,500 screens.
Wow.
So it's definitely playing at a theater near you. Go to leftbehindmovie.com. You can get your tickets. And what I'm telling people to do is go online, get your tickets, and then send that link to all your friends and say, hey, meet me at the theater. Show up, don't show up. It'd be great to see you. Maybe we can go for a drink afterwards. You know what I mean? So make it casual and just a fun time at the theater. I actually am doing it twice because tomorrow I fly to LA. So for the opening night, which is Thursday, I'm having my own Don't Get Left Behind movie party at the premiere in Los Angeles. And then by the weekend, I'll be back home in Florida and I'm doing it again. And I've sold out 2 theaters this way.
Awesome. Right. Now, Sam is in the movie along with her husband, Kevin Sorbo. And now this is a kind of a follow-up to the movie that came out, I believe, like 2014 that had Nicolas Cage in it, the original, I guess, Left Behind movie. So where does this pick up for those of us, because it's been probably 20 years since I read the Left Behind series. Where does this pick up?
So this is the second installment of the saga. And it is, the sequel to the 2014. That to say, you don't have to have seen the movie in 2014. You don't have to have seen the Nicolas Cage movie. My husband reprises the role that Nicolas Cage played. I'm told that the writer of the book series says this one's the best one yet.
Awesome.
I tend to agree, but that could be because I'm in it. So it's a thriller. It's a good ride. It's a good story. One thing that the writers did that I thought they did an amazing job of was kind of at the last minute, they said, we're going to rewrite the script. And they wrote in a lot of the stuff that we've seen happening recently with the pandemic. So there's also been a pandemic in this movie, even though they don't name it and they don't go too much into like details, but you see vestiges of some of the things that have happened in our culture that we've sort of embodied, we've accepted now. You see that in the movie and you see how they wove that into the story of the tribulation. And it's very cool. So you don't even have to be a believer to see this movie. This movie is appropriate for basically for all audiences. There are some bad guys in the movie. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for young kids, but it's just a lot of fun, and invite the people that you are too shy to invite to church with you.
Yeah. Who doesn't love a movie, right? Sam Sorbo, actress, we're talking about Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist. Now, all the folks here, I have a list of the folks that you've worked with in the movie. Talk about the cast a bit. How fun was that? And what did you learn from that experience?
Okay, so let's see. I worked with my husband, which of course I love working with my husband, and he was the director, which made it super fun. I worked with, so my role didn't actually overlap the other main characters except for my husband. The guy who played the pastor in the movie, there's a part in the trailer where the pastor says, "I chose to stay," which is such a great line. And he did a great job. And so, but Corbin Burnson did a great job. Neil McDonough is just amazingly watchable as an actor. And they just really bring the whole thing home. Greg, who played the lead, and my son's in the movie too. He played opposite Greg. Or I suppose Greg's the co-lead because they've got 2 real protagonists for the movie. And I think they're going to slowly pass the baton from Raymond Steele, but I'm not actually sure how they're going to manage that. But anyway, it's just a good movie. It's wholesome entertainment. It's traditional values entertainment, and I just really recommend it to people.
Yeah, and you mentioned Neil McDonough. My son and I are both fans of him because he was in. It just slipped my mind. What is the name of that DC show? Oh, The Arrow. He was in Arrow. He's been
Oh,
in just several movies and just a phenomenal actor. Love Neil. So we're excited. I'm excited about that. So what do you want folks to walk away, whether they are believers or not believers? What do you want folks to walk away with when they watch this?
I really want them to be enriched. I want them to have a little bit more of whatever faith they start with. And I think that this movie accomplishes that. It's just one step further. I think that it will inspire people to consider the eternal questions, the things that we are distracted from considering by our entire schooling, right? Our entire schooling purports that there is no spirituality, that this world is entirely material, and that's wrong. And so I really want people to understand that there's more to life than just what the here and now. And maybe it will inspire them to open their Bibles. Maybe it'll inspire them to go to church. But of course, we're looking for salvation for people, right? I want people to get saved.
Yeah.
And so that's really ultimately that's the desire. This film, I think, is just one step on that journey, and hopefully will be one step on that journey for many people. Oh, I do want to say that it is difficult today to reach out to the Christian community in particular.
Mhm.
There are the traditional ways of advertising and publicizing this movie, and many of them are hostile to our Christian faith. And so I really encourage people, when you find out about this movie, if you're watching here, jot down leftbehindmovie.com and share it with friends and tell them that this movie is coming so that at least they know. I mean, I posted it on LinkedIn yesterday, and I had a friend who I've known for a long time, strong Christian, goes to church, like of all the people who should have heard about this movie, she's one of them, right?
Mhm.
And she wrote me right back. She said, "Oh, I had no idea." So don't think that everybody's already heard of it, and talk about it with your friends and invite them to come with you and have a good time. And then go to Sorbo Studios and let me know how you enjoyed the movie.
Yes.
Sam Sorbo, actress, Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist, coming out January 26th at a theater near you, leftbehindmovie.com. Get your tickets, as Sam said, and then invite some folks, and then send the link around too. Say, hey, this is coming to a theater near you. Friends, family, whomever, those that are following Christ and those that are not. It's going to be a great film. Sam, let's talk a little bit about the rest of 2023. You've got the show that you do weekly. What else is in the hopper for you?
Well, you know, my passion is home education, and I don't call it homeschooling because it's definitely not school, especially with what we see in the schools today. I think we have to finally admit school is unfixable at this point. And in fact, so I train parents what we should be meaning when we're talking about the education of our children, which actually is discipleship. It's not just academic. So the schools convinced us that education was entirely academic. It's the 3 R's, right? By the way, what are the 3 R's?
Reading, writing,
which is a W, and arithmetic.
Are they 3 R's?
Not at all.
So the whole thing is sort of built on a lie, right? Even that much of it's a lie. So I just train parents. I have a new version of my playbook coming out, but the original version of the playbook is still out there. And I've got a series of videos, and I train parents in the education of their children so that they can do it themselves, because it's just not that difficult. I've raised 3 children. I have 3 nearly grown children who walk in the Lord and are fervent and fervent Christians and wonderful people and respectful. And I have a phenomenal relationship with them. This is one of the things that I tell parents is teenagers don't rebel naturally. That is something that's inculcated from our culture. Our culture continually tells children, parents are stupid, cast them to the side. You don't have to listen to your parents. And a lot of kids pick up on that. And so now we think that it's just normal for teenagers to rebel. We go, oh, I used to have people say to me, you've got 3 teenagers? Oh, wow, your hands are full. And I'd be like, yeah, they're full of love. What do you mean? Like, we're good. We've got it fine,
Yeah.
So I train people. I train parents because I want to save the family. I want to save that institution that God created for the child, the family. And our schools have decimated the family. They've stolen the child from the parents from the child, and that's a very sad thing. So but the great thing is there's redemption. This is an easy way out. It'll take one generation if enough people choose to keep their children home, to teach them themselves, or I should say, educate them, because it's not even teaching, it's discipling. And we can start to think about education differently. We will go a long way to the preservation of the family, and therefore the preservation of the nation, and the preservation of what we value so dearly is our freedom.
Yeah. And I just love the name of your book. They're your children. My journey from self-doubter to homeschool advocate. Sometimes we forget they're our kids, and we just think, oh, we got to send them to school. We have no control over that. You do. Yeah. They're your kids.
The schools and the administrators are very busy telling parents, butt out. This is none of your business. You don't have any say in the education of your children. And I say, that's poppycock. And we ought to be putting those people in their place, which is out the door, and taking back charge. But really the best way to take charge is to do it yourself and not rely on strangers who you've never met before, who have been trained by the institutions that we now know are all woke and Marxist and all that. Why would you rely on them to inform your child of anything, much less, what real intelligence is and stuff like that,
Yeah. Love
Good
it.
stuff. Sam Sorbo, actress, again, Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist, coming out the 26th. Get your tickets at leftbehindmovie.com. Get Sam's books, her stuff. And Sam, we'd love to talk to you again later on, just kind of check in and see what's going on. Bless you. Thank you for what you do, you and your entire family. Hey, let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.